Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out. I know I'm practicing it this morning. I'm having to learn it even today. When you get paid and it's not quite enough, you just got to peace out. You can't make there be more money in the bank, can't make the weather change by worrying, can't get taller or shorter, change the color of your hair. Well, maybe it turns it more gray faster. I don't know. But we're learning every day to just trust Him more and peace out, right? That's what we're going to talk about today. But before that, let me give a shameless plug for my book of the week, which is 31 Days in Psalm 31. I know on the computer it's right, on here it's backwards. And the intro says this: Psalm 31 is packed full of powerful thoughts, inspiration, and encouragement to continue seeking God even in the rough times. David was in a rough time when he wrote it, and I was in a rough time when I wrote it too, living in the cave. It was a place to be. It's a place to get intimate with God. It's a place to get to know Him better and just slow down a little bit and go, okay, I'm going to have to trust You for every second of every day. It's available on Amazon in print and on Kindle, and it's available on my ebook store, which is Dove's Fire Ministries bookstore.com. You can download it and read it on your phone. So you don't want to read it, you want to take 31 days to go through it. I had a friend one time who said, that was an easy read. And I was like, you're not supposed to read it. It's a devotional. You're supposed to do one a day, right? Spend that time, that quiet time. Think about the questions at the end of the devotion, things like that. But she was a precious friend, and she just read it all in one sitting. Anyway, so grab you a copy. That's our book of the week. I've already got next week's book planned out. There's a lot going on here and a lot of things to look forward to with the different books and Bible study guides and things like that. So this morning, I read quite a few different places this morning, but I landed in Matthew 6 while I was praying, because I was praying and I was asking God about some things. What do I do about this? I need some wisdom with this. I need correction on this. I need help with that. I need to get away from this and go over there. So many different questions going through my mind this morning. So many different mental areas to explore. But I was trying to bring it all back in, get to that place where I could just go, okay, God, let me just remind myself that You're still my peace. This seems broken. This seems messed up. I don't know what's going on there, but God remains constant no matter what's going on in our lives. He is the one constant, right? That right there is enough to grab hold of peace for the day. He's still with us. He's still walking with us. He's still listening to us. He still cares. He still loves us. I can't make the dumb enough decisions to make Him not love me. That's peaceful to me. That brings comfort and peace to my heart, that He doesn't ever go, right? Or go, okay, I'm out. I'll come back when you're making more sense. Or He's just with us. And that, to me, is one of the biggest elements that brings peace, is that I know that He's walking through my day with me. And so I ended up in Matthew 6. And one reason I ended up here is because it talks about the birds and how they don't work, right? They just trust God every single day, and God takes care of them. And He was saying we need to do the same thing. And something I came across this week, I don't remember if I read it or if it was in a seminar. I guess it was. I think I read it somewhere, and it was talking about the value of getting out in nature. And for those of us who believe, getting out in nature helps us kind of see God's handiwork and just how marvelous His works were all those years ago and even today, right? How it's still continuing today, and nature is, in the health and fitness world they call it grounding, because you just get rooted. But for us that believe, we're rooted in who God is, because He created this, and it's time to pull our emotions away and free our mind of some things. And one of the things I've enjoyed so much this last week or two at Martin Park, as spring is trying to squeeze winter out, not quite doing it yet, but it's getting there, right? Is there's so many birds. And I have an app on my phone. Oh, I'm on my phone. I was like, where's my phone? Oh, yeah, there it is. You have to excuse me. My mind's busy. But there's an app on my phone. I think it's called Merlin, Merlin, and you can hit it, and it'll record the bird. It'll record the birds, but it'll tell you what birds you're hearing, and it'll highlight them. And so I stand there, and there's like 10 or 12 birds in that area, and I've just been listening to the birds, and I'm like, it's just been so relaxing. Well, as I was reading this week, I found out that it is actually a principle in some teachings. I don't know where I read it, y'all. I read a lot of crazy stuff too. But it was saying when birds are singing, it's soothing to the soul, because Birds don't sing when a predator is near because they're not going to give up their location. So if the birds are singing, they're feeling carefree. They're feeling taken. They feel taken care of. They feel no threat. So when you're in nature and you're listening to the birds that God created, and you're listening to the songs, and they each one have their own little intricate little songs, and they all sound so different. And when they are singing, it means there's no danger, because when there's danger, when there's a predator near, they stop singing. Don't we do that too? When we feel threatened, I don't know, there's a whole lot, I've learned a whole lot about that and trauma and stuff this week too, but when you feel threatened, stop the song. When you feel threatened, you pull away to yourself, and sometimes you pull away from God too, because you're like, okay, I don't know, I got to work through this little situation right here first, right? And so just listening, something as simple as listening to the birds sing their natural songs, and they have a call and they have a song, it actually is soothing to the soul. And you know what that brings me back to? God is so wonderful. God is so magnificent. He is so creative, and we can get so much out of just what we think are the simplest things that he created. And he reminds us here in Matthew 6, Jesus reminds, this is his first sermon, right, that we have recorded. And he reminds us, don't worry about your everyday life. Just consider the birds. And so I've told myself for years, if I hear the birds singing, I know God's still feeding them. And if he's still watching the sparrow, he's still watching me. And I won't sing because I want a sparrow. I want you to be my friends. I want you to stay here, right? And so, but if he's still watching the birds, then he's still watching me. If he's still taking care of the birds, and he's still watching over nature that he put into motion 4,000 years ago, give or take, and it's still taking care of itself, and yet he's still just sitting back enjoying it. Yeah, that's cool. I made that. He planted those same seeds. The plants he made there that day of creation made seeds that are making the plants we see. I see outside my window right now. God is so much, his thoughts are so much higher than ours. Now, I know we have the mind of Christ, but I'm just saying we can't even come close to creating things like that. Creating something that makes more of itself in a natural process and sustains this ecosystem. If he did that, don't you think he's still watching you? Don't you think he's still connected with you? Don't you think? And so in this first sermon, Jesus brings that out and says, don't worry. I got you. God's got you. And then he finishes this section with the last verse of chapter 6. So don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring its own worries. It's okay. He says, you don't have to worry about tomorrow. There'll still be trouble tomorrow for you to take care of. There'll still be things for you to expend your energy on tomorrow, right? And so he says, but today's trouble is enough for today. So whatever you're going through for today, it's enough. We'll just focus on today. But here's where I really want to go with it. He said the trouble is enough for today. But you know what? He also gave us something else that is enough for today. And this was where I was encouraging my heart this morning, because I gave him a long list this morning, my prayer time. I wrote 4 pages in my journal. And God, don't forget, right? I poured it all out before him. And here's what came to me as I was meditating on this, is that his grace is also enough. So the troubles for today is enough for today. We don't have to borrow from tomorrow. We don't have to worry about the past. Let's just take care of today. We just take care of serving God today. We're going to get through today. And then we also have even grace enough for those troubles that we're dealing with today. His grace is enough. It never runs out. It never expires. We don't have to worry about getting up in the morning and him going, oh, I didn't recharge grace last night. I am so sorry. Right? No, it's there. His grace is always enough for whatever our enough troubles are for today, right? His grace is always enough to cover whatever we're dealing with, because we all got stuff on our plates, right? We all have things on our plate. We all have things we're dealing with. We all have emotional baggage that we're working through. To say we don't have those things isn't faith. To deny those things' existence isn't faith. It's really not trusting God with them. It's okay to say, hey, God, you see this pile on my plate? I'm going to trust you that you've got enough grace for me to handle each of those situations with your wisdom and with your grace. I'm going to trust you that every one of these situations that all of a sudden got on my plate or have been there for years, His grace is enough to cover it. His grace is strong enough to carry us through this day. It didn't expire. It didn't run out of charge. It's enough. He's enough. And our troubles may be enough for the day, but His grace is enough for today too. Right? And that's why we can peace out. No matter what's on our plate, no matter what's on our schedule, no matter what gets taken off our plate that we wish was still on our plate. God's grace is enough for today. Have a great day. Peace out. I'll see you again in the morning.